Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to our coffee times and to another movie review. Today we're going to be talking about Hunt.
It's coffee time.
So Hunt is a film that since I heard of it, I wanted to check out. I'm a sucker for movies that have to do Halloween night, haunted houses, escape rooms, all of these kind of things. You know, needless to say, not all of them are great, but it's a topic that I really enjoy and I really wanted to give this one a try, also because it is from the writers and producers of A Quiet Place, which is a movie that I really loved. Hunt is a 2019 American slasher film written and directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. It stars Katie Stevens, Will Britton, and Lauren McLean. The plot of the film is fairly simple at the beginning. We just have a group of friends that decide to go out for Halloween. So they dress up, they go to a party, and then they make the wonderful, great decision to go to a kind of haunted house attraction to finish the night. At this point, I have obviously seen many films that have to do with teenagers getting slashed on Halloween night, haunted houses and these sort of attractions and escape rooms, all of these things, and I have to say this is probably one of the ones that I have enjoyed the most when it comes to the quality in general, not just the acting, but also like the whole planning and execution of this film was fantastic. I remember how excited I was to watch Hellfest, because what can be more entertaining than going to one of these fun parks where everything is horror and people get slashed? But it was such a huge disappointed movie. I think they just tried to bit more that they could chew, and the film was a disaster for me. So I was pleasantly surprised with this one, and I think they kept it a little bit more intimate in this haunted house, and it worked perfectly for them. The film does have a couple of jump scares, but the movie does not rely on those, and they are not overly used at all, which is something that I really appreciate. So the creepiness and the whole terrifying moments do not come from jump scares. The film, like I said, it's kind of like your typical story. At the very beginning, we have a group of friends that go out on Halloween night and they are at this party and they don't know what to do next. So they find this flyer about this extreme haunted house experience, and they decide that it's a good idea, after they have been drinking, to take the car and drive there. So while they're driving there, you see that they're basically in roads that go to nowhere in the middle of the woods. Great idea as well. And they end up in this haunted house, and nobody questions why there seem not to be many cars in the parking lot at all. If this is supposed to be an attraction, it's Halloween night, shouldn't it be busy or anything? I don't know, it's just me. So when they get there, they are told that there are certain rules, and one of them is of course that they're not allowed to take their phones inside, plus they're given kind of like a consent agreement so they can sign that as well. As you can expect and predict from this type of films, at the beginning they are having fun. It's all giggles and games until they start to see that the kind of things they're seeing inside of this haunted house seem a little bit too realistic, and they start to wonder if they might have made the worst mistake of their lives by entering this house. The whole haunted house was so well planned. I absolutely loved all the sets, the little shows that you get to see on the attraction, the different rooms. Everything was really planned to the detail, the attention to detail, everything. You know, in other films, these kind of rooms that they have to go through do have this kind of more of a trashy look, and I felt like here they thought so much about it. It's kind of like they created a maze of rooms that are interconnected, and everything was so well thought, and it gave you this feeling of really being trapped, and it helped to keep the tension and the atmosphere. The cast was pretty strong if you compare it with other films of the same genre, if you compare it to other group of, you know, teenagers in other movies. I felt like they did a good job, as well as the spookers, or the guys that are working in these haunted house that are wearing costumes. They were so like creepy and unpredictable, and I really love them. It's one of my favorite things of this film was the guys that were working in this haunted house. That for me was the cherry on top of the cake. And I feel like they didn't have much time for exploring really the characters in depth, but it's something that we all know that happens in this type of films. Nobody expects, you know, a great exploration of character in this type of films, but I still feel like the acting was pretty decent, and it was actually a pretty good film. Another thing that I really appreciated is that the death scenes that we get to see are not your typical death scenes in these type of films as well, and they were very brutal at times. The film does start as a very kind of stereotypical, also at times predictable film, but then it takes a turn and it gets fairly disturbing. And I absolutely love that the characters and the audience are put into these uncomfortable positions, in these uncomfortable situations where there's a lot of tension. They did such a good job at keeping the tension on the scenes, and you know, not being kind of boring or anything. You could feel the intensity of the scene building up, and I really enjoyed that those scenes, once you know you're really into the film, are not predictable at all. The only thing that I would criticize about this film, the only thing that I didn't like so much, was the very last scene of the film, because I thought that they went back to the stereotypical, the overused, and I don't know, it was just kind of like, why are you doing this after you deliver such a great movie, you know? So the end scene was not really for me, but apart from that, I was really in love of the characters on the second half of this film. It is a film that is surprising, it's fresh. Even though there's been so many films about haunted houses, I still felt like this one was different, and this is a movie that I will gladly rewatch. So I ended up giving this film 3.5 out of 5 stars because it did have its flaws. It was not a perfect film, but it was kind of like a fresh take on these type of movies that we have seen so many times, and it did have many positive things that I really enjoyed. So definitely give it a watch if you like this type of movies, and I hope that you enjoyed this quick review. Let me know down below if you've already watched the movie and what you thought of it. As for a curiosity, as for a kind of fun fact, this film in Germany, it's called Halloween Hunt. Sometimes in Germany, movie titles are changed to other titles, but still in English, which is something that I think is very funny. I guess just adding the word Halloween, they thought they would bring more people's attention, because of course when we see the word Halloween, we're like, what's that? At least me, I'm a sucker for Halloween stuff. So yeah, that's the fun fact of the day. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Please give the video a big thumbs up for support. If you want to follow me in other social media, as always, the links are in the description box down below. And I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!